Thank you for joining us for Turn the Page with Paige, brought to you by Southwestern Illinois College. I'm your host, Paige Hulsey. Children's books have the power to transport us to magical places, teach us new things, and create memories and bonds. But they can also serve very practical purposes like supporting a child's language development. And that is exactly what the children's book, I'm a Giant Fire Truck, sets out to do. It was written by Sarah Schmidt from St. Charles County, and Sarah joins us here today. So glad to have you in studio.
Thank you for having me.
Your book is really adorable, and I can see my boys picking it up just because it has a giant fire truck on the cover. But before we talk about your book, I want to talk about you and your day job, your other job as a speech language pathologist. What exactly is that?
So a pediatric speech language pathologist really helps support and encourage children's speech and language development for our kiddos with language delays or multiple speech errors, and to help support parents in carrying over those skills at home.
How big of a difference can just reading to a child or with a child make in their language development?
So we know that research says that if a child is just read to once or twice a day, it increases their knowledge of vocabulary by thousands of words. And so really picking books that are repetitive and rhyming, books that kids are interested in, reading the same books over and over for automaticity, just really supports that language development.
So you're telling me when my kid wants to read the same book every night for 3 weeks straight, I'm actually supposed to do that?
Yes, yes. Good readers read the same books over and over.
Interesting. Okay. Well, why did you want to write your own book? And I assume that you might use it in your work also.
So it actually was the opposite. I make up songs in therapy to get the kids engaged, and I had a coworker tell me that she said, you should make this into a book. And I kind of downplayed her at first. And then I thought, I should make these into a book. So this is actually my second song that I've written or made into a book. And so I sing them for my kiddos, especially on the autism spectrum. They just really seem to like them. They latch onto the language really well, and decided that making it into a book to share with everyone would be a great idea.
Okay, so we're going to try something that we've never tried here before on Turn the Page with Paige. We're going to ask you then to show us how this all started. Take us back to the song. Can you play the lyrics for us that you then
I would love
turn
to.
into a book?
Yes. I'm a giant fire truck, big and strong. Here is my ladder, it is so long. When a call comes in, alarms will shout. Open the doors and let me out.
I know that tune, a familiar tune.
Yes.
Very sweet and simple, right? So that helps the child repeat it and practice?
Repeat it, practice. We also know that building language routines are so important for kiddos. So because if you read it over and over and you pause at that high point, you lessen the work a child has to do to think of what to say and to say it. They already know what to say, and so they're more likely to imitate and repeat and produce that language you're wanting them to produce.
Wow, I'm learning so much. Okay, so tell me also what happens inside the book. So once you decided this is a great song that kids are really enjoying, this could be very productive in helping them learn these skills, but how do you make it into a book?
So I really was just singing the first maybe couple of pages, and then I thought as I made it into a book, let's see what the storyline looks like. So the fire truck starts out at the station, and then we know that alarms go off for our firefighters and the fire truck leaves. We know we have to get out of the way when we see a fire truck behind us, so that happens next in the story. And then the fire truck makes it to the house, makes sure everyone is safe, puts out the fire, and then returns back home to get all cleaned up and take a bath. And I know when my boys were little, they loved driving past the fire station and seeing the fire trucks get their bath, get their wash, and head back into the station. So
you're really accomplishing two things. You're helping them learn about the process, helping them learn about our first responders, all while helping with speech and language development. The illustrations are really great. The fire truck looks so big, it's so vivid. Tell me about this great local connection with the illustrator as well.
So my illustrator is Antoinette Elgin, and she owns I Paint with Knives. She participates in a lot of plein air art festivals in the area. And we come from the same small community in St. Charles County. and just randomly connected and just really really hit it off. Like, she was able to bring life to the vision that I had in my head, and I was just really nervous that that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But she's so talented. She did watercolors for the books, but she also does other mediums and paints with knives, which is pretty amazing.
I'm kind of intimidated knowing that. I haven't even met her, and I'm intimidated.
She's great.
Very talented. You both are very talented.
Thank you.
So back to your professional expertise. If you have one piece of recommendation or advice for a parent watching or a grandparent or a caregiver, what can they do in their own home to help encourage a child's speech development?
So I would say narrate your day. Talk to your kiddos about what you're doing, what you're seeing, what you're hearing. It seems and feels kind of silly at first, but really the more language they hear and they're exposed to, the more they're going to imitate that and repeat that. Whether you want them to or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, really just, I think as we've gotten more and more into technology, we are talking less and less at home. And so really being intentional about making sure we're self-narrating our day or their play or whatever's going on in your world.
Yeah, you're making me be very reflective about how much do we talk at home? How much do I talk the boys through what I'm doing, whether it's in the kitchen or folding laundry? I'm going to keep that in mind. Okay, one more advice I'm going to ask you for, or one more recommendation before you go. What's your recommendation for a children's book from another author?
So right now, I really love, I love books that follow old fairy tales like the Three Little Bears, Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. So my book right now is The Three Little Aliens and the Big Bad Robot. And I love it for kids because they're learning about outer space. And it follows these three little aliens who can't live at home anymore and they have to go out into the big wide world, but the big bad robot is coming to chomp them up. And it's just adorable.
Adorable and a chomping robot. Okay, wouldn't have put those two things together, but if you say so,
it's great.
I'll check it out. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us to share your story and some really, really helpful advice as well. It's been great.
Great, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in at home here to Turn the Page with Paige. We hope to see you again soon.